Hi beauties, it's your beautiful big girl Brittany and welcome to my channel, Beautiful Brittany. So today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different, something that is most definitely true to me, something that is very personal to me, but I've been thinking about this for a while now, and it's a big part of my life. It's who I am. I've just been on a big self-love, but more just self-aware growth. um these past few years for me have just been a time I have been working on myself, trying to grow, trying to elevate in every way. That's really what this year has been to me. And I'm an overthinker, so I was like, I don't know if I should kind of put this out. I don't know if I should mention it, but I really was worried about like trying to niche down, because I'm so much more than just a big girl, you know. Like, I'm a big girl, but that's like one hat that I wear, one very, like, that's my identity. It's a big part of my identity. It's me, but it's just like one hat that I wear, and I didn't want to get stuck into people just thinking that, you know, I can only talk about one thing. Y'all know what I mean. I'm going to try not to spend too much time, you know, I tend to go all over the place, so I might have to, so bear with me, guys, especially in these next videos, because it may be a little bit different. Well, it is going to be different than the past few other videos I put out, but I'm still going to do clothing hauls. I will still be, you know, giving like tips and tricks on different clothes to wear. I'll still do that. I am a big girl, so I plan to do lots of stuff, but I think this resonates more with who I am now. I think my platform always was going to be a plus size girl, plus size model, plus size influencer. That it just made sense when I started my channel to start with that. But now that I'm on this journey, it's like I can, like, it is such a big part of my life. I cannot not talk about it. You know what I mean? When something just like impacts your life in every way, it's hard not to share it, talk about it, and make it part of your life. So I'm not saying that I'm switching anything completely. I'm new to YouTube as well, so I don't think it'll be such a big deal. You know, I don't have that many subscribers. So yeah, I just like to say thank you guys for your patience. Please bear with me. It may seem a little choppy. I may seem like I'm all around, but I really want to get this out. I really need to say this because I know in like my heart this is the new avenue I'm on, but it's also difficult to talk about it, especially to other people, especially on my YouTube platform when I'm still learning about it. Long story short, guys, without delaying what I'm trying to say, I have ADHD. I have adult severe ADHD. I actually have the inattentive type, but the DSM, for all intents and purposes, don't, not that it doesn't acknowledge ADD, it just kind of all now goes under the same umbrella, and it's called ADHD. The difference is the hyper and the attention. I have inattentive, and I also have issues with attention, and so does ADHD, but they're more hyper. I'm like the opposite of hyper. I'm very calm. I'm a very calm person. So yeah, so that's my tea. It may not seem like a big deal to most because we hear this a lot. We hear like, oh, okay, you probably, and most people think, oh, you can't sit still, or oh, you got problems with focus and attention, and that's what I always thought it was. Like, would you believe if I told you that I've had it all my life, that I've struggled with it all my life? So it is a long story. gosh, I don't know if I need to break this up into different videos, or if it just all needs to come out in one. I have no idea. So I am just going to talk to get it out. And if it makes sense to put it in a video and share, I'm going to do that. And if it doesn't, then maybe I'll go into it another time. Hopefully you guys get to see this. Hopefully this is the one. I don't know. I have recorded my progress with different things within my ADHD, and it's like a whole nother video. But I've never actually sat down in front of the camera to say, hey, I have that. And it's still hard. And I think it's a big deal for me because I am Black, because I am young, because I grew up it wasn't like my parents were really good. They were really good parents. It wasn't like I wasn't allowed. It's more so that it wasn't heard of. We were like more unaware of it. Our family, my mom's like, you go to church, God will fix all your problems. We didn't need therapy. We didn't really talk about, deep feelings. So I feel almost like vulnerable or fake or like it's not a real thing, and it's impact my life so severely that it's very, very real to me. It's very, very real to my brain, and the things that I do, and I've even like heard things growing up like, oh, it's about like sugar, kids just super hyper, or because they watch so much TV or so many video games, or it's Black it's boys that, I didn't mean to say Black, it's boys that usually get it, not girls. And statistically, and guys, I am not a doctor. I am not about to sit here and give you no statistics, no data. I'm going to tell you what I know, and you'll find out that I don't know all the terminology. I don't know how to completely explain it. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job now. I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability and tell you what I have issues with. But everybody suffers from different characteristics, even if they do have the same diagnosis. And we all know that, like there's 18, I don't know if 18 is the exact number, but like there's so many different forms of cancer, They all potentially are deadly, and they all have different stages, and they all are serious, but there's different types, so one person might not experience the same characteristics as someone else. So with all that being said, because part of my ADHD, I'll get off on a tangent, right? I just want to kind of just go into, I guess I'll start with just like why it's so hard for me to say it. And that goes into like just how I was raised, and you go to church and God will take care of it all. We didn't really talk about our feelings, nonetheless. It was like and this was never said, and that's what I mean. Like my mom would never say, it's not good to say you have an issue. She never ever said that to me. My dad never said that to me, but I always felt, and I'm assuming it stems from my childhood and how I was raised and the people around me, that it was weak to say you had an issue. It was just weak, or not, but and same thing, like just it's not that deep, pretty much. Like it's not that deep. Even when I tell people, it's taken my close family, like my parents, to come around to understand like this is really a thing, and it affects all aspects of my life. And it's the new wave I'm on. Like I'm learning about it, I'm understanding it, I'm researching it, I'm applying it, tools and tricks and stuff to my life. It's everything, and I think it was like the answer to me. So I want to go back a bit, and I'm probably all over the place here, guys. Just bear with me. I want to go back to like what made me discover this, I guess. And for the past few years, I've just been on a growth, elevation, self-aware journey. That's probably the best way I can explain it. For, I would say, like the past solid 3 to 4 years. Gosh, like time flies. I have been on this, just wanting to fix my health, wanting to fix just any flaw in everything I was lacking in, which was money, budgeting, my weight, um, my career, what I wanted to do in my life, just in every all aspects. I just wanted to get that together, and I knew I needed to start with. I knew like my foot, like I knew I was having issues focusing. So with that, I knew I needed to come to the root and figure out like what was going on with me, because the weight or like my overeating is just a symptom of what like something else is going on. So I knew that, like I knew I couldn't start with, okay, let me just diet and go to the gym. Like I knew that wasn't just it. So I'm sorry, y'all, I'm like all over the place. So I'm trying, and now I'm trying to like remember the timeline. I reached out, I went to my doctors, and I was like, when I was younger, I had ADD. I was medicated when I was younger for it. And I'm feeling like I'm having some issues focusing, yada, yada, yada. I want to get, re-diagnosed or whatever. Oh gosh, guys, it has been a journey. It is not easy. Oh, I would love to do another video about that. Just like, I've been through so much just with learning this about myself, explaining it to other people, like just in work and in the doctor's office, as a parent, as a mom. It's just really just kind of been a very challenging year and a half, 2 years. That's how long I've been actively getting help for it. So let me go back to answer your question, because I know I just said something there. Probably like, well, I know I said I just found out that I had it, but then I just also said that I had it when I was younger. So let me explain, right? It's not the funniest thing, but it's definitely so me, or so ADHD, right? Sorry, my nostrils itching. So when I was younger, I'm sorry, I'm shaking my camera. I was on Ritalin. I knew I had ADD. What I thought ADD was and how it was explained to me was, I had issues with my attention. It was always my attention, and not being able to do anything I wasn't interested in doing, right? Like homework. It was always a behavioral issue. It wasn't really my academic, like my education. It was always considered a behavior issue. I knew it like bad, pretty much. Just a badass child that didn't want to do no work. And I just thought like it was focus and attention. I had no idea that there was all these other things that I suffer from severely. So yeah. So I started a new job. And when I say like a new job, I like a new career. I was going into case management. I had graduated from college. I was in school for psychology. I was now just started to get a case management job, and I wasn't supposed to. COVID kind of got me into this job, and that's a whole nother story. So it wasn't in my plan to start. Eventually it was to go into it, but it wasn't my plan to go ahead and get a full-time job as a career coach, doing case management and starting now, right, in 2022. It wasn't the plan, but some ish happened. And if y'all want to know, comment down below. That's a whole nother story, like my whole timeline and everything. But I don't want to like give you too much information in one video. I'm trying, like, this is the reason why I hesitated for so long to make a video, because I feel like I jump around a lot, and I feel like I'll say every topic in one video. But I guess I still could elaborate on it. So I'm just going, like I said, I'm gonna, what they call like spit vomit or spit ball here. What is, why can't I say the analogy right now? I'm just going to just keep talking. And like I said, if it turns into a video, then great. If it doesn't, then at least I can pull out some good key points that I want to say and re-record another day, another time. But I have an issue with starting things. Starting things is very, very hard for me as a part of my ADHD. So I had to just sit down and push record, or I would have never did it. Like, I was just listening to this video and they were like, momentum, like, and I'm like, yeah, give yourself momentum. So, brushed up my eyebrows, put a clean shirt on. I really like this background and everything. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna record. What do you guys think? Like, I'm really feeling this background, and I hate, I'm in my room and I don't hate. I want something different than my lavender walls. I am not feeling it anymore. I don't feel like it's me. But I'm loving this whole ambiance right here. I think it looks really good. I hope it looks good on camera to you guys. Let me know, comment down below what you think of this background right here. Do we like the candle in the background? Yay, nay. Like, I couldn't decide if I wanted it lit or not, but I kind of like it. And it, like, part of my self-healing journey and like my ADHD, I've been really getting like fresh flowers lately, because I've also been practicing minimalism. I would love to definitely do a video about that. So fresh flowers and a candle has really like been my thing lately. So back to the ADHD. So yeah, I was having issues at my job, and I really wanted to do a good job. If you guys, that's a whole nother video, like how to deal with ADHD at work. So I started like research. I don't remember what the doctor said, but I didn't really go to my doctor for that. But I was like mentioning to her that I felt like I had issues with my focus, and I should probably start looking to get back on Ritalin or something. I just started feeling like I really probably need that. I kind of had them feelings when I was in college a lot, and I just was like, procrastinating. I was like, well, I can get it done. And misconception about ADHD or ADD that a lot of people have, and I did too, is like, oh, well, you kind of think you're just lazy or you're just in a bad spell because you're like, I did it before, so why can't I do it now? But that's exactly what ADHD is for me. Like, I'm very inconsistent. Like, there's like nothing I can name that I've done consistently. Like, nothing. Like, motherhood for 14 years, right? I could say, like, but no, nope. Like, nothing I can't say. Anything I did consistently. So like, that's just a big issue for me. So things that I have issues with, let me go there, and that might give you a more understanding. That might give you a better understanding of why I said I have ADHD and the issues that I was having, and why I reached out and started doing my research, and how I came to the conclusion that I have it and all of that. So like I said, I knew I had ADD when I was younger, and we assumed, meaning like me and my mom assumed, that I grew out of it because I was only on Ritalin elementary, maybe some in middle school. So like after 8th grade, I've never took it again because I moved out of the town I'm from in 8th grade. I went to a different elementary school in 8th grade, or middle school in 8th grade. And I know after that, I was never going. Like, I remember going to the nurse in like my elementary school, taking a little tiny little red pill, and after that, nothing. So I think my mom just assumed that I grew out of it, and like, I guess the teachers was calling less. And I'm assuming at the time, I mean, I know that like the teachers were probably always calling, she's not sitting still, she's not really listening, she brought her drink to class, she's fiddling with a pencil, she talked back to the teacher. I can do a whole nother video of like, just like all the misconceptions, and it's just been a whirlwind. Cause I just like, I was considered bad, in trouble. And I remember I got sent to my stepmom. I got sent to my dad's house, right? my mom was done with me, and she was like, you can go stay with your dad. I think I said something like, I don't want to live with you, I'll live with my dad. And she was like, okay, go, and packed my bags. But my stepmom, she was like, in my dad's house, my stepmom was a disciplinary. I have like 9 other brothers and sisters, so there was a lot of us at the time. Probably not 9 yet, but it was a lot of us. I think it was 9 of us at that time. She was a disciplinary, and she was just like talking to me. Like, I think I probably got in trouble at school or something, or wasn't, whatever. And she was like, I don't, you act like you're like a troubled youth. Like, you've like, she was like, you act like kids that got like hurt or abused or something. And you didn't have that life growing up. So she just like couldn't understand it. And it's just so funny that she said that, because that's kind of like how I felt too. Like people want like a reason. Like ADHD looks just like something else. Like sometimes it looks like you're on drugs. Sometimes it looks like you don't care, you're being rude. Like ADHD is like, the best way I can explain it and how it affects me is that it always looks like something other than what it is. And I think I have a lot of pain, or like resentment behind that. Like just like not being understood in that way. Like always someone thinking, oh, it's this, and I'm like, no, it's not that. Like it's always that. I don't think I'm explaining this very well at all, guys. I don't know what I'm saying right now. But yeah, I had this job was like a blessing and a curse. So now I'm in this new job. It's case management. My supervisor is not a micromanager at all. He's like, make up your own schedule, do whatever you want to do. Like, these are pretty much the duties of the job, what we need you to do. But whatever time you want to do this, whatever time you want to do that, which was good in the beginning, or I thought, my ADHD, I'm always like on immediate gratification or feeling. So I would much rather prefer, the reason why I stayed away from office jobs and 9 to 5 for so many years was because I prefer not to be micromanaged. I preferred a supervisor like, hey, this is what I need you to do now. Just go do it and, get it in whatever. I preferred that. But if I'm I've learned that I need consistency. I need structure, because that especially when I need to remember something or do something, the only if I have to break a habit or to do something, only way I can do it is to be consistent, to have structure, to have a schedule. But however, a schedule, I always it's like my biggest fear, because I think I was never always able to keep up. It was like, oh no, I don't, the commitment of always having to go. It's like with ADHD, you're thinking about 1,000,001 things. So so your emotions is irregulated, you're up and you're down, similar to bipolar, but not really. We're not completely manic or completely depressed. It may be in seconds, but not the way I understand it is bipolar. They go through months, weeks of spurts, or serious. You're more, if you do get depressed or anxiety, it's usually due to your ADHD symptoms. And if you are super high, again, it has to do with your dopamine and everything in your brain, not the same thing as bipolar. So my job, I start to come in late because I have one thing I've learned, I have time. It's called time blindness, where I can tell time. But I don't know time. As far as I don't know what 15 minutes feels like to 2 hours. I always overestimate the amount of time I have, and I always underestimate my ability to do something in a certain amount of time. So in my eyes, people was like, oh, you lie, you always say you're around the corner. I mean, come on, we say that. I always say I'm around the corner, right? That's not a good example. I'll say something like, hey, yeah, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And to me, it felt like, oh, well, I did X, Y, and Z, and I left. It was probably about it was 2-3 hours later. You understand? But to me, it feels like 20 minutes. So like that's a big time gap. Like that's a big time. Like can you imagine that's a big time gap? Like it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Time blindness. Like it is so hard to tell like what anything feels like. You just like time just flies by and you don't even know it. And now you got somebody asking you like, hey, why were you late for this? Or your supervisor being like, hey, you didn't get this in on, so I have to do a lot of timesheets. I am a career coach to a lot of to participants. I can do another video about my job if you guys ever wanted it, but long story short, I have to create these timesheets, and I had a lot of clients, and timesheets were always due like the 15th of the month before, of the month after. So like now we're in March. March's timesheets are due by April 15th. So usually in the last 2-3 weeks, by like, April 1st, I start to create them, start to send them. But, my boss is like, why are you always waiting to the end of the end of the deadline to send it? And it started to be a problem. And it was because like time management sucks. Like at anything consistently, I just had no skill in consistency. I had no idea how to incorporate consistency, how to practice, where to start. My planning was horrible. It's very, very hard for people with ADHD to plan ahead. Again, because everything we do, everything I do, I can only really speak for myself, but everything I do is like for like immediate gratification. You can't think in the past or in the future because you're working memory. There's ADHD deals with the front of your brain, like in your why can't I talk? Your prefrontal cortex. It's not developed as a neurotypical's brain would look. It's different, and it has to do with a lot of our work in memory. And it's just we really can't think ahead. We can't really think in the future either. As far as and I like. You really have to explain because people are like, oh, you can't. Like, what do you mean you can't? No, we can see the future. I mean, like we could think like I could be like, oh yeah, I want to do this at X, Y, but I can't plan to like you can say, oh, I want to eat broccoli. No, not broccoli. Let's say, like I never really believed that somebody like I would hear people like, oh no, I don't want to eat that because I'm gonna be bloated a little later or something. I'm just like, that's not a thing. Like I'm like, how do people? I just thought people like make it up, like be making stuff up. Because I'm like, that's not like cause and effect was very hard for me to see. I just really didn't think it was like if I couldn't see it and it didn't happen right away, it was very, very hard for me to care about it. Very hard for me to care about it. Like so the whole thing with eating, like a disciplined person or a neurotypical can say, no, I'm not gonna eat that donut because I'm going on vacation in a month, and I want to look good for it. Me, I can't think about vacation when I eat that donut. I know that donut looks good. I know that I'm hungry, and I know that I want that donut. And if I want that donut, why shouldn't I eat that donut? I cannot think. It's hard. Not that I cannot, but we don't usually think. It's not what pops up in our head, a neurotypical to pop up in our head and it'll be like, I'm not going to do this now so I can get the reward later going to the beach looking good in a month. We don't have that. And like something has to trigger that. And then that's where you can get behavioral therapy and get tools and put skills and build good habits like an alarm or, something for me. I always learn by mistakes. I think the reason why I am where I'm at today, the reason why I reached out and got help today is because I wanted to be different. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to really get to the root of my weight problem. I really wanted to get to the root of my procrastination. And then I was really starting to get depressed at this point, and that's a whole nother thing. It was hard for me to say because I've never said the words like depressed. I was just like, and like I just was in post-COVID and COVID, I just started to really go into like this, like dark path, and I was like, I can't continue to do this job. I like the job, like, and I think it was just so much pressure to keep this job. I'm here, I'm at this new job, I graduated college, so I'm supposed to be here, and I really wasn't. I should have went back to school, but mind you, COVID happened, and I found myself in a position where I had to work because I needed to pay rent because I bit off more than I can chew. And excuse me. So now I'm in a place where I really need this job. I really like the title of the job. I had my own office. I never had my own. I did have my own office in another job for a short amount of time. But it was exciting. And I'm helping people. Like, I had my own caseload. I'm actually in charge of helping people get their life together. And I really liked that. I really liked that title. I really liked the fact that I was in a position to do that. However, I could not, like, the technical things were starting to get to me. I was starting to have a lot of issues getting timesheets in on time, organizing my caseload. I would talk to clients and I didn't have a good system. Oh my God, now that I'm talking about it, I see that I come so far. I'm thinking about, like, my Excel. I used to, I was just looking through, like, all my notebooks. I have, like, 4 or 5 old notebooks. I only been there for, like, a year and a half, right? Because I used to just write stuff down, but I wouldn't remember where I put the notebooks, and I had to grab another notebook because ADHD, right? So I'm just, like, all over the place. And I remember, like, sitting down with the therapist, and he showed me, like, how to do an Excel, and it was so much easier. And just, like, a lot of things I just thought was like, oh, I can't, like, I almost thought I couldn't do this. I thought it was going to be too hard to do. But I got it. I found my groove. Anyway, my work was starting to suffer, and my job was starting to notice it. Long story short, and I had to mention it to my supervisor. I had to say, like, hey, I got this issue. And then try to explain it to him, and that was horrible. Like, that, I don't. So, I have to explain this new diagnosis I have. And, like, I have to be okay enough to mention it, because I always had this issue. I got fired from many jobs for being late and everything else that had to do with ADHD. And I never mentioned anything. I just kind of always just tucked my head between my legs, or my tail between my legs, and just carried myself on to the next one or the next situation, just trying to stay away from it. So I wouldn't feel rejected, or so I wouldn't, feel like a failure, or that, I can't do it, because I just really thought something was wrong with me. So it's just such a big relief and a challenge at the same time. I've never been in a place like this in my life, this far, and I think challenging is the best word. Like, I've heard people say challenging before, and I kind of really, when I think of the word challenging, I don't think of hard. Like, hard is hard, like, it's hard. And then there's, like, easy, and then there's, like, okay, this is hard, but it feels good. Or it's hard, but you're getting through it and you're learning things. And it's like, so I'm in such a weird place right now, because I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm seeing results, but then I'm completely frustrated because it's not going where I want to be. And it's like, now that I know what's going on, guys, let me tell you, like, it took me so long to get diagnosed. It took me so long. I can tell you guys that story if you want. It took me so long to try to get assistance, to try to get help, to try to get diagnosed, to, like, medication, therapy, all that stuff has been a long, long road. But yeah, so anyway, I was having trouble at work. I was having trouble with case management, managing my cases, my time management. I was really good with the clients. That's my strong suit. I was really hoping my, like, supervisor would see that and take some of, like, the technical. I feel like jobs always call me out on the technical issues. and would ignore like the client relate. I'm really good at I'm really good with people, client relations, clients. I always was the employee with clients is asking for me, or I'm the one talking back and forth and engaging and giving them. I'm really good with resources and people and things like that. But it's the technical things that always matter to the jobs that I always had issues with. That always seemed to outweigh the good that I could never excel at. And I'm also realizing now reason why I'm forcing myself to, how I found my purpose now is that I realized that I needed to go through all of that. Like I had all these issues. My gosh, where was I at? I completely lost it, and it was so good. I was going through all this stuff, and I realized that I needed to. What was I talking about? I was about to make such a good point. I don't remember. There's that thought. ADHD getting the best of me again. I have cramps in my, they're kicking my ass right now. I wanted to do really good at the job. I didn't want to have them. Oh, I now know. I was saying I was never good at the emails. They always were like, oh, did you, grammatically correctly spell, and spelling is not an issue, but grammar is punctuations, or did I put the signature page. I've never done. I have never worked at an office before. I didn't have to do all that, the signature page, and emails, and the proper email etiquette. And I'm very good at talking. That's my skill. I'm good with people. I'm good at talking. I'm good at conveying, relaying messages. I'm good at receiving information and repeat. That's my strong suit. That's my strong suit. And that's where I was going with that. I was going with there. I was never at a job, that my skill or what I'm good at overshadowed my flaws. The jobs that I was always picking, or that was just in, or just jobs period, just, they're stuck on society's, conditioned rules. Very it's very unprofessional if you come in late. Of course it is. Of course we know. I know that, right? But they penalize you for it. Even I remember a job I got fired from for 2 minutes late. I wasn't affecting the business. I completely understand if you're late and somebody else is waiting for you, or you're late and that means you're behind in your work or something like that. But 2 minutes late cannot affect was not affecting my job as a CNA at the time, as on a floor of a senior center. And I don't mean a retirement center. I mean an adult senior center, if you ever worked in one before. We're playing bingo with the clients. You understand? We're sitting there trying to get them excited about playing bingo, and they're sleeping. You understand? There's 4 people already putting the damn dot for Mrs. Washington on B9. Okay, there's another one taking Charlie to the bathroom. 2 minutes is not going to hurt anybody, but to them it was just it was the etiquette. It was just you just don't do something like that. Whatever, they just felt if you're going to do this must mean X, Y, and Z. You're not a good employee. You just got bad work ethics. It was a no. It was a hell no for them. They were no, and that was it. That was the only thing. And I'm talking about I remember, so I was are you serious? They were they wasn't playing it. I remember, and lady, she was no, I run my own business, and I liked her. I thought and I thought I was doing good. I thought everything was on point. So that kind of scared me, and that probably situation like that probably instilled a lot of self-doubt, in my work performance, in my jobs in the future. And after that, I always stayed away from 9 to 5 jobs. That was my last 9 to 5 job. I don't even know what year that was. Maybe 2016. I don't know why I have that year in my head, y'all. We bad with years too. ADHD. Like, it doesn't mean like I can't, like, it amazes me how people can say, oh, like, when people say, oh, we're having a 90s party, 70s party, like, I can't not think of, like, oh, yeah, they were dressing like this in the 70s, or, I can't. Like, I don't have anything to pull from that year to be like, oh, yeah, 70s. Like, now I can kind of like 90s and 2000s, but people go back, I'm like, and I was like, I used to say like something would happen like last year, if you like, and it'd be years, and I'm like, dang, like it, like time just flies by. That's the time blindness of ADHD. It's serious. I hate that I say so much. I hate that. Can you guys hear me? I think I've been talking. Hold on. And say that's my ADHD. And it affects me. It affects me making these videos. And I don't want to give an excuse. I think the reason, I just want to go back to say this because I didn't finish that thought. What I was getting at when I said I never, was in a job where my creativity could shine more than my flaws, because the flaws were the job, and I like totally get it from like a 9 to 5, and like thank God now YouTube, and now the world is just different now, and you could like create your own path. But I always knew when I was younger I was going to create my own path. I always knew I was going to have to create. I always had to find another way. That's like the golden thing of ADHD. I'm sure if we all us ADHDers like put our heads together, we would like come up with some crazy alternatives and like tips and tricks and hacks on how to do stuff an easier way, because that's all we are. That's all we do is figure out another easier. And it really, like, with this easy, right? It's probably just different. In our heads, it might be easier, but to like a neurotypical, that could be like, no, that's 10 times worse. Like, why do you even do it that way? But I still had to say, like, we would figure out what, like, another way. It'd be funny to like bump it. Like, I would love to talk to somebody else that had ADHD. I know people that have it, but none that are like self-aware enough to have a decent conversation about it. I guess, like, what do I want you guys to get out of this video? What did I want to get out of it? Why am I telling you guys it? Why am I recording this? I think the whole point of it is to go back to, I was not at a job. I was never at a job that, my flaws didn't outweigh my creative ability. And that's how I knew that was my purpose. It was to let other people know that have ADHD. It's okay to say it. Even if you're black, even if you're younger. I think for black faces, for young faces, for their ADHD and weight loss has such a big correlation, guys. Such a big correlation. So it has a lot to do with my weight. It's going to have a lot to do with other people's weight as well. So it still goes into, my plus size movement, modeling, all that. It still goes into it. And I think that's why I'm sharing it, because me trying to figure out why I'm at this weight, I found it in ADHD. Like so me fixing that was my first step to fixing my weight. And that's probably the first and last time you guys will hear me talk about this, because I have this kind of like rule now that I don't really talk about weight with people. I don't, and not, probably not for reasons that people, that's a whole nother video, y'all put that down. I will tell you my theory on like body positivity and weight loss and all that, but I don't get into like diets and what you should do and when are you going to do it. And I don't say I'm on a diet or anything like that. Just because how many times do we stop and start stuff? Like, don't nobody want to hear you going to with no results. I don't want to give nobody a whole, like, one big thing about me and my new way of life is I want to say more. Do more and say less. I really, like, I just realized I just talk so much. I used to talk like a lot, and like, your words don't matter to people. Your words don't matter. Your actions do. What you do, like, your life shows who you really are. So like, you can say whatever you want to say, but people are going to pull what they want and their truth, and sometimes it's just the truth out of what you give them, out of what you show them. So the words don't matter. And I really, really want someone to pick out positive, good things about me based on what they know, not based off of like what's coming out of my mouth. If that makes sense. So with like learning all this and all the like the issues that I had to go through to try to get help, to advocate for myself in so many different situations that I did not think that I would have to advocate for myself. It has like now I know that other people have this, and you know, like I have so many family members and exes and stuff. I'm just like, you didn't reach out. Like, you need to go to therapy. You need to do this. You need to get yourself that, like, you just don't want to. And like, it is hard. And if it was that hard for me, and I was 100% determined to get through this, what the heck was that, a net? Then I know, like, it is hard. It is hard. It is hard work to say I have this issue, and then to put your trust into someone you don't know. Not only that, it is hard, and a lot of people don't like to talk about this because a lot of Black people don't like to talk about this. It is hard also for younger Black people to go to a white, a Caucasian man or Caucasian woman too, and express their mental history, express their mental illness or their mental concerns. It is very hard. It is a vulnerable situation, and not to mention when you're low income, majority of the doctors are Caucasian, and that's why a lot of our population don't go to the doctors. They don't reach out for medical help, for mental health at all, and a lot of us is not getting the help that we need. So, with all that being said, I'm bringing this life over into my YouTube channel because it means a lot to me. And because I wouldn't be doing a service if I just get on here and be like, these are the cute clothes to get. These are, this is, that's not just me. That's not me anymore. Like, I'm elevating, I'm growing, still like to rock cute clothes, still repping for the big girls. I ain't going nowhere, but I just, it's kind of like when you learn something new, when you come into something new, like how can you not share it with the world? Like, how can you not? And I just feel like I want to be that person to let other people know that you're not crazy. And if you have any issue that's not even ADHD, you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You have to reach out. You have to become self-aware. And you have to distance yourself. There's just a lot of things that I did, but these past few years, just to get myself together, just to grow and to elevate, and I just learned so much about myself. So I hope that wasn't all over the place. I hope you guys kind of got the basis of what I was trying to say, the reason why I wanted to express that I have ADHD with you guys, the reason why I went into my whole story. I kind of jumped around a bit and just kind of gave a few like bits and pieces of so many different things that happened. But please, I think that's good because it kind of gives us a start, some ideas of what you guys might want to hear more in depth about. So you can comment down below. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want me to do something specific towards ADHD. If you want me to relate ADHD will wait. if you want me to talk more about anything, like I said, I'm a talker. I have a lot of stories to tell. I done been through some life. When I tell you some life, some life, some life, some life. And yeah, I'm on this journey, and I would love to take you guys with me. I think that's like the basis of it. I'm on this journey. I would love to take you guys with me. I did not give you my diagnosis like just so you know like what's going on too, why I'm not posting consistently. But either way, like, let's be honest, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that anyway. Like, I'm gonna have to be consistent. So it's not to give an excuse, it's just to let you guys know. And also it's time for me to admit it. It's being true to myself, because I used to hide it, you know, not hide it because I didn't know it was there, but didn't like, if I would have said I had this issue and that issue and not laughed it off and not made it like, oh, that's not no big deal, like, oh, I just lose my keys all the time, or oh, I just do this, or I just can't seem to, my stepdad used to call me can't get right. Like, that's not funny. Just like, I'm just so glad I have a reason. Like, I'm not just effed up. I'm not just crazy. There's actual scientific, name for it. And there's help for it. And I'm confident in that. So yeah. I'm trying to just wrap it up. I'm trying to, make sure I covered everything, making sure that my words all flow together and connecting. I'm hoping it does. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know your thoughts. Be respectful, as I'm going to be respectful, but let me know what you're thinking. I don't regret saying it. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this video or not, only because I want to make sure I'm coming off as clear and transparent and as cohesive as I want to. Like, I want to make sure that I'm, conveying it right to you. Not because I said I have ADHD. It's a part of my life. It's a part of my life, and I'm not like, I say it to everybody now. I think my mom is probably like tired of hearing it, because I'm just like, oh yeah, that's my ADHD. And I'm gonna give you guys this example, and then I'm gonna go because I don't think I gave you guys enough. And just comment down below if you guys want me to do, like, you can give me a topic and I can stick to just that topic. That will help me out so much, because it's hard for me to think of topics I want to talk about so much, and that's my freaking brain, right? That's the ADHD. But I asked my daughter today, I'm like, oh, like, my daughter, she stays after school. She has 2 clubs she's in, and then she also works at my mom's after school. And me and my ADHD, I remember, like, to me, the important thing is what you're doing. Like, I know that some days you're after school, and some days you're at my mom's. I can't, it's too much for me to remember which days is which. So, like, I just remember the importance. And then, like, the hours and the time frame is the same. Like, it's always, like, when she goes off the bus at 3 to, like, 5. So, I know, like, okay, like, so she still comes home, or I still get her at the same time. So, like, whether it was work or after school, it doesn't really matter to me. You know what I mean? So, I asked her, she's like, yo, you know what I do? I'm like, I don't know what you say. Like, I don't. And it's just funny how, like people try to tell you what you should know. And like how we'll just act like, oh, well, no, like, so I had to be like, no, I don't know. My brain doesn't work like that. This is how I remembered it. I remember you have this going on some days and this going on some days. And it's better for me just to ask you on that day, hey, what do you have today? Than it is for me to, like, okay, remember Monday, Wednesday, Thursday is, photography. And then Tuesday, Thursday, look, I can't even, I think I'm repeating days. You understand? Like, to me, that's just too much. It's easier. That's the way I remember it. That's the way I can, have it in my head. I don't need to know the details. So, like, I'm like, And that's how I learn with a lot of things. So it's not that you can't do anything. We can do everything. In fact, we're more in tune than most people are. Most people are on many things. There's not, a lot of people think it's a comprehension issue. There's nothing wrong. Like we can retain. We're able to learn. We're educated. We're smart. It's more of a memory thing. It's more of an attention thing. It's more of like, just like not being able to control your impulses, or not I don't want to say not, because then it is making it like it's a hindrance. It's like falling susceptible to intimidations a lot more than a neurotypical, you should say. Like, oh, I don't want to do these, just the boring stuff that you don't want to do, like timesheets or something at home. Like, oh, I don't want to do this laundry. It's boring. You can be like, well, let me get it done anyway because we need clothes tomorrow. The kids need, I gotta. Sometimes we can just like, we can't think like, oh, well, if I don't, then I ain't gonna be able to go to work tomorrow. I ain't got no clothes, and then so we don't do it, and then in the morning we're in a damn array because we can't get out the door. We ain't got no clean clothes, and now I gotta wash clothes. And now you understand how it trickle? Like, why didn't you just put your clothes in? Like, people would ask you stuff like that. Well, you should have just. Well, only if I was a neurotypical. You like. It's hilarious when people just assume you should know or assume you should do, and like we criticize each other for it. Like, that's just what it is. And that's another reason why, like, ADHD is so overlooked and so underrated. It's weird. It's like everyone wants to say they have it now, and everyone does kind of have it now. It's hilarious. But to go back to the story, I was so much, I'm like, you're just like my mom. So my mom, she has her own schedule. Our family owns a daycare. My mom has her own child care center. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't know her schedule, and she'll tell it to me, but I'm not retaining it because I don't care to know. Like, I know her hours is 9 to 5. I don't know. And then she takes her break between 12 and 2. And this kid comes on these days. And I know around, like, and I don't even know her specific hours. I just know around the time we wake up when the sun comes up, normal typical hours, like, oh, probably like 6 to 6 or, 7 to 5, something like that. Like, I don't even know the specific hours of the business. I feel like that's not my business, but, she'll call me in the morning. Sometimes we'll talk, and my mom, every time I'm like, oh, I'll call her. She's like, it's nap time. I'm like, I don't remember it's nap time. Like, why would I don't remember, like, and then like toddlers and stuff, they go to sleep at different times. Like, nap time, I think usually is like, I don't know if it's like lunchtime, like we have at work, like between 12 and 2, I would assume. So I do remember when she put it down, but again, I'm not thinking that when I call, and she, like, we go, and I'm like, Mom. So I had to tell her today, like, Mom, I have ADHD. This is a part of that. This is how my brain works. I'm not taking in your schedule when you tell it to me. Like, and then she'll be like, oh, well, and she'll still try to repeat. I don't need to know. I'm not retaining that information. I pick out what's best for me to know, and what's best for me to know is that you are working between the hours of 9 and 5. That's all I need to know. Like, I don't need to know, your specific schedules and what days. She's like, I'm like, no. And I run into this a lot with my boss. Like, there was we have to put these codes on timesheets, right? And I use the code number. Let's say I use 05, right? And he was like, oh, switch this, it's not 05. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, what is it? Like, now we had a training and he showed us where to look for the codes, but the codes I seen, let's say I said 05 and 08, right? Now, something like, depending on what activity they are in, they give them a code, but also there's codes for different, like, documentation as well, like different paperwork. So I can't tell if it's a form or an activity, and I'm looking in it. I know where to look, but what does he do? He screenshots and sends me, where he's like, we talked about this in the meeting. Like, I don't know, like, oh, I don't know where to look, or I already told you this. Like, I don't need you to remind me. I have no issue comprehending anything you told me at the training. I understand where to look for the codes. There's 2 different numbers here, and I don't know which one you want me to use, but I'm asking because when you tell me, then I'll remember and I'll know, oh, okay, this means that. That's how I remember. But people like will try to give you information they want the way they feel like you should learn it. No, that's not how it works. That's not how ADHD works. So I have to scratch my arm. And for instance, I feel like I've trained myself to understand too, like people learn differently, and the person that has to know the information, that has to receive the information, should be the one to control how you give it to them. And we don't do that enough in the world. Like the world, you don't pick and choose how someone gives you information. They give it to you, and then you're penalized if you don't get it. And they don't assume, oh, you have an issue, and if they do, then you need to go to special ed classes, because we don't have time to rearrange it or explain it a different way or give it to you in a different way that your brain will understand, and then like we're swept under the rug. So I say all that to say, my last example, I called the pizza store, and I can like the guy, I can tell he's like maybe a little slow or something. And, I said, to me, I was saying it, I was trying to say my order in a specific way, to make it sound very plain, because I could tell he was like, huh, what? And I was like, I want a large pizza, half pepperoni, half bacon and sausage. And he was like, you want a large? I said a large pizza, half pepperoni, half bacon and sausage. And then he said, and I'm like, okay, why do I like? It doesn't matter if it sounds simple to me. So it's like he's the one that needs to take the order, so that he can get it right. So that he needs to give me to make the food. I don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not for me to try to re-say it in a way that's best for me, or try to figure out which way is best for him. He's trying to tell me the way he wants me to give it to him. So I was like, oh, I was quiet, and I was like, okay. He wanted me to say it slow, like, so he can retain it in his mind. I could tell he was thinking, he was like, oh, you want a large pizza, one half with pepperoni and the other half with sausage and bacon. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want, and I was like, even though we said the same thing, he needed to ask me, because then it made sense to him in his head. It doesn't matter if it seems like it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if we both said the same words. He was the one that had to receive the information, because he had to do something with it. He had to make the pizza. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I got that, and I was like, yeah, I get. So I just kind of like snickered. Usually we kind of would have laughed, or I hear people all the time like, oh, is she dumb, or are they stupid because they feel like they said something in plain English and the person didn't get it. Not everybody's brain is the same. It doesn't mean we can't, like it's not like and I guess it is technically a learning disability, but it's not like a disability where as though like we can stop learning or stop retaining information at a certain level. No, it's that we need the information given a certain way to receive and understand it and use it the same way neurotypicals do, and people refuse to try to understand that. So I find myself one of my biggest pet peeves too is someone trying to tell me something I already know. Oh, it's my biggest pet peeve, and for some reason, it's like the most thing that happens to me. I'm like constantly, and I know like I don't want to go into star seeds and chosen ones too much. That could be another video, but I know most people see the light. They know I know, and there's those some people that just like, people that just like to try to learn you. I want to learn you something. I always want to be a teacher. Just love to, I always didn't like the people, because I'm like, what would make you assume that I didn't know that? Like, why do you feel like that needed to be information that you needed to relay? Why did you think that I didn't know that? And then there's other people that trying to make you feel slow because you don't retain the information they do. And like my boss he's kind of like short tempered. He's like that, in a way. And you like, he'll be like, oh, look at the thing, or, oh, I told you that already. And I'm like, if I'm asking you, it's because I needed clarity or whatever, like, don't tell me what you told me or tell me where to find it. Answer my question so that I can do my job. It's not a teaching thing. Because I'll tell you, like, I understand this about ADHD, right? we are very well, me, I am very, very self-aware. Very much so, to the fact that I know I had an issue, and I, you know, got help for ADHD because I needed these things not to be an issue in my life because I knew that they were hindering me, because I'm self-aware. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm very much self-aware to the point where there's never anything I don't know, because if I'm not educated enough, I'm aware that I'm not, and I'll express, hey, I need to know this, or I'll go seek that information. There was a time, like prior to me going to college, I didn't know much of anything. And that's a whole nother story, but I was in special ed classes and I got swept under the rug. So when I first graduated high school, I didn't know a damn thing. I didn't know anything. And I relearned it all. I had to go to community first, and I relearned. Learned a lot of stuff. I was over there playing around, spinning in my chair, not trying to learn. I've learned it, when I first went to college. And I always knew that I would. I always know, like, oh, I'll do it when I'm ready. Like, I'll do it when I'm ready to do it, when I'm interested in doing it. Right now, I don't want to do that. So I knew I would. Like, I didn't go back to college when I first graduated. I tried it for a few months, and I was like, I was pregnant at the time, and I was like, I'm not. And I went back 10 years. I think 10 years later, 6 years maybe. At that time, oh my gosh, I don't remember. Years later, I went back and I was ready then, and it was just such a different experience. That's a whole nother video, guys. I know I've been around and about. I told you some stories. I just wanted to kind of get something out there. I'll probably try to cut this video down so that it's not super duper long and overwhelming. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you would like me to do any subtopics or topics in this topic, because we talked about a lot. The main basis was that I am going to start doing a lot more videos. I'm just self-growth, self-love, anything elevating and learning about yourself, healing yourself, mental health, anything in or around self-care and self-love. You can pretty much say that I'll be talking about on this channel. So please expect a lot more videos like this. I will be talking a lot more about my ADHD. I'll be talking a lot more about my growth journey, my healing journey, my how I elevated myself, just a lot of the stuff that I learned. I'm thinking about doing like this segment, like, where I'm going to try. My thought is to like commit to 2 videos a week, and in one video go and like do a story of my past, and in the next video do a story into my future, because there's so many stories, there's so much stuff that I've been through. It cannot all be in one video. There is so much stuff I've been through. There's so much stuff that I learned. I am a walking stereotype, and I want to talk about that. There's just so much I want you guys to know about me. I want to give to other people, to the world, other women. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, guys. I hope that you like this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. I'm going to go. See you in the next video. Bye, beauties.